All right. So I honestly, tell me the truth. Is Caleb Williams the next coming of Tom Brady and the love child of Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes put together? Give me your honest opinion.
My comp for him is Aaron Rodgers.
That's true.
I've
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to see both of those guys play in person, and just the ease with what they it just looks like both of those guys just look like they just flick their wrist and the ball goes 75 yards. Like I've never seen anything like the feet moving in the other direction. Doesn't matter if they have a clean pocket or not. I don't get it.
I please God, please God say that you're right. Uh thank you, I'd be thanking you, Lord, and thank Lord this is our NFL preview. If you watched our college football preview, welcome. If you did not, go back and watch it after you're done watching this. Let's just hop right into it. I'll go division by division, talk about it. Start with the NFC East, the NFC least. Um, so we're not going to get a back-to-back champ. I don't think we're ever going to get a back-to-back champion in that division. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think Philly wins it this year. Just going 1 through 4, I think Philly, Dallas, Washington, and the Giants. Um, One question: is this the last year? This could be the last year for Brian Dable, right? I can see the wheels coming off hard with the Giants.
I could see this being the last year for three NFC East head coaches,
Really?
including Dable. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think what's gone on with the Giants is necessarily Dable's fault. I think it's more organizational.
Yeah, the
You
organization
know,
is a disaster.
he did his best. I think it was 2 years ago now when he got them to he won a playoff game.
He
Like it was
did.
it was well done with the roster they had. I don't think they've been drafting very well. I think he's going to be the fall guy.
Yeah.
Um, but we also have like if the Cowboys don't get a result this year, I could see
Oh yeah.
Mike Zimmer is on that staff. That's an easy interim head coach situation there.
Yeah, but the
Um,
Cowboys want to keep just like cycling through bad head coaches or like mediocre head coaches, like Mike Zimmer and Mike McCarthy and these guys who like won like kind of sparingly at other places, and then you bring them in expecting them to do better because they're the Dallas Cowboys. Just bring in something new. Give me something new. Does that make sense?
yeah, and it just yeah, oh yeah, go for it's weird that they've never tapped into like the McVay coaching tree or anything like that. They just
Exactly.
keep retreading these old um these old awful head coaches. And we need to talk about Sirianni in Philly too, because I think the Eagles could be a blow up candidate this year.
Really, I could say I like that take after how badly last year ended.
Yeah, and I just don't think we don't think of offensive linemen the same way we do because they're not fantasy players. They're
Of
not they're
course, of
not
course, of
as
course.
but like the retirement of Jason Kelsey is a really fucking big deal for the Eagles, and I don't think enough people are acknowledging that. He was the secret sauce to the tush push play, and I don't know that that's as effective this year.
That's fair. Also, by the way, I think Washington. I don't like that hire with Dan Quinn because you just subbed out one defensive guy that had like one good year at like an NFC South team with another defensive guy that had one good year at an NFC South team because of their offense and they're a defensive guy. Go from Ron Rivera to Dan Quinn, and I like Rivera more than I like Dan Quinn, so I don't think that was the right hire. Although I like Jaden Daniels. And who do you think wins the East, by the way?
Uh, gun to my head, I say the Eagles, but it
I
could
see
be
what you
like
mean. It
a
can go like one way, or it could like go like this or like that. It could be a race to the bottom. Yeah,
well, yeah, I'm saying it could be like a 10-7 or a 9-8 conference champion. Like I think all of these teams could suck.
yeah, that's fair. Going on to the NFC North, I have it, Detroit as winning the division there. This the top three of this division, though, I think could be the division that has three teams that go to the playoffs. And I know that's biased as a Bears fan to say that, but you have Detroit, who came this close to a Super Bowl last year. Jared Goff, who I think is, as I used to say, he was underrated. Now I think he's a little overrated, but I think he's still very good. And they have an incredible roster around him. Green Bay, who we'll see if I still think that they overpaid for Jordan Love, because I understand the last 8 games of last season and that game against the Cowboys in the playoffs were impressive. But again,
You had to do it. You had to do it.
but it still is just half a season. I could see regression, or at the very am I crazy? Like it just seems like a really quick assumption that this is the guy you're going to pay him more than anyone else. I guess it makes sense because you don't want to be stuck oh, we're losing out, but I don't know. And then the Bears are the biggest wild card team of the NFL, because the defense should be top five. I don't think there's too much of a debate about that. They ended the last quarter of the season last year. They were probably the best defense in the NFL. The quarterback position, we'll see how quickly Caleb Williams adjusts to the NFL level. So far, he's looked like that he's poised and confident. We'll see how quickly that offense meshes together. He has the skill pieces. He has three guys who could be number ones at wide receiver between Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze. And then I think they have one of the deepest running back rooms in the NFL. Maybe not the most star-studded, but maybe the deepest between Swift, Herbert, and Roshan. The question comes down to the offensive line, if that offensive line can hold together, which it hasn't been able to. So if all these elements can meld together quickly, this team could win 12 games. But if it doesn't, then they could win like 8 games.
Can I tell you a secret, TG?
Go ahead.
I am in love with the Bears offense.
Really?
I am in love. I think I want like fantasy shares of all these guys. I love DJ Moore. I think Caleb's auto lock rookie of the year. And it it pisses me off a little bit that they never gave Justin Fields this kind of opportunity
All
with
right.
these kind of guys
Listen,
around him. But
this how the
this is
cookie. It's
football
how the
preview, not
cookie.
football look
The
back.
cookie crumbles. It's how the cookie crumbles. If you know what, who you should blame is Ryan Poles for absolutely like what he did to the Carolina Panthers is disgusting. I mean, literally,
Yeah, that's
if
no,
he
it should be
ever
illegal.
if he enters the state of North Carolina, he should be put in prison. I mean, he destroyed the Carolina Panthers franchise with that trade. It's almost like looking back on it, it's almost unbelievable. Maybe Bryce Young could be okay. He maybe could end up being a good quarterback. That's still possible. But if he's not, that's rough. But thank you for saying that. And then Minnesota, I think, finishes last place because I don't believe in Sam Darnold. Even if he's good, I still don't think that team is as great talent wise as people will try to make them out to be. And I think they could be an okay team, but I think the top three in this division are just too good for Minnesota.
You know this already, but I have to say it on camera. My most edgelord football opinion currently is that Sam Darnold is going to throw for like 4,000 yards and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
25 touchdowns. The man's been done dirty by his first two NFL head coaches. I think O'Donnell can get something out of him, but we can move on. We can keep it rolling to the next conference
Who do you think is
or
going to win the North?
next
Who wins
division.
the North?
Um, yeah, for me, it's the uh, it's sorry, I think it's the Packers. With the Lions in short, right with the Lions right behind him. Like I think it comes down to the last few games.
Sure, sure. The NFC South. This could be the worst division in football, or one of them at least. I don't know what the Falcons are doing. I think they win the division, but I don't know what they're doing at quarterback at all. with Cousins and Penix. I think Penix is very good. I think Penix could be the quarterback of the future there, but could they be waiting too long to play him at all? Because he's ancient at this point. You should be playing year one, not waiting a couple years behind Kirk Cousins. That's wild. But in the short term, I think that Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback and he can actually get something out of those weapons. I think it's the Buccaneers who see a little bit of a regression from last year. I think Baker Mayfield, I like him, but I don't love him. I think, I'm happy he got his money, but I think you see it the production come down a little bit from last year. The Saints are just stuck in just a weird hell ever since they lost Sean Payton and Drew Brees. And I like Derek Carr. I think he's a good quarterback, but that team is mediocre at best. And then the Panthers, who I think are still a disaster. Truly.
My second most edgelord football opinion currently is that Derek Carr is going to get benched for Spencer Rattler this year.
I don't hate that take. I don't think Spencer Rattler is that good, but who knows? Although it
I
sounds kind of like people who say that Drake May is going to get benched for Joe Milton, which is like, did you watch college football?
I think Rattler is a big game player. I don't think the NFL lights are going to rattle him one bit. Played at Oklahoma, played in the SEC. Ripped Clemson's heart out. I think it was 2 years ago now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I just we know who Carr is. We know what you're going to get out of him as a quarterback. I think when things inevitably kind of go south for the Saints this year, I think they might try and take a look at their younger quarterback that they brought in.
That makes sense. And who is that division?
I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I I like I like Baker. I think Baker is back and established, and I have concerns that the Atlanta offense just isn't really that good. Because like
Really?
what did Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, what have those guys ever done in the league?
You're right,
They're
but I think
all
it's kind
it's
of.
all just hype. It's all just hype.
But I mean, it is quarterback. They never really had a quarterback with those guys. They never really had a good head coach with those guys. So that's the only thing I'm thinking. But I do see where you're coming from. And if Baker can make it this year, then I think he's established himself 100%. He's 100%, 1,000% back. And then finally, the NFC West. I think there's one team that, head shoulders above the others, and that's the 49ers. They still are the Avengers, essentially. Um, Even though I think McCaffrey could fall prey to the Madden curse pretty quickly with the kind of production he gets, but whatever. After that, I think Arizona has a bounce back year. I think Kyler has a bounce back year. I think he played a lot of NCAA 25 in the offseason, and he's found his love for football again. And he's ready to light it off. And then the Rams at 3, I think they kind of take a step back. I think this probably is the last year for Matt Stafford. I think it's over. I think it's time to start thinking about the future if I were them. And then finally, Seattle. I Forcing out Pete Carroll is a shame. I don't think they should have done it. Um, Especially when you're going to keep Geno at quarterback. I like Geno, but I don't think he's great. I'm wondering how much of that progress was Shane Waldron, who you just basically kicked to the curb as well because you got rid of Pete Carroll. But whatever. I think they finished last in that division.
I think the Niners are another blow up candidate for me.
That's a take. That's a hot take.
I think this could be. They've been really. If you look at like the last, I think five years of Niner football, going back to the Super Bowl that Jimmy G played in, they're way up, they're way down. They either go 14-3 or they go 3-14. There has been no in between for that team. Um, and I think there's some uncertainty with that offense going into the year. Ayuk wants out. They obviously can't pay everyone. Um, and I have concerns about the health too. McCaffrey is not fully healthy coming out of camp. He could be hobbled the entire year. And then you've got Debo Samuel who limps, he's a high usage, high volume player that takes a lot of hits. He limps off the field a lot. I think this could be a down year for them. And I love the Rams, man. I love the Rams
Really?
offense.
With Puka?
I I think Stafford was playing awesome last year. I think he was decisive. He was hanging in there. He looked like vintage Stafford last year, and getting Cooper Kupp back in that offense, getting Blake Corum, a guy that can take some of the load off of Kyron Williams, keep him fresh, keep him engaged. I like them to win the West.
I don't hate that take. I see where you're coming from. I don't think Stafford plays badly this year. I just think that maybe they overplayed their hand last year. But I see where you're coming from. Um, moving on. AFC East. I got a take for you.
All right, give it
I
to me.
think the Jets are winning the AFC East. I still believe in Aaron Rodgers. He might be crazy. He might be a drama queen. I think he still might be a great quarterback. If he stays
I love
healthy,
I love this, TG. I love this. I'm all over this.
I mean, listen, he's made my life hell, but I've come to realize over time that I don't dislike him as much as once he leaves the Packers. It's the Packers I hate more than him. Um, but yeah,
For anyone new to the pod, Aaron Rodgers is TG's sleep paralysis
oh, of course
demon.
he is. Yes, he is. I don't. I'm not saying that isn't true, but it comes with the context of the Packers, and I gotta say, I think he's going to be. I think this Jets team has a loaded offense, and I like Robert Saleh a lot. I think this team has been really just been plagued by quarterback issues, and I think if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, then I think he's the guy there. Especially because I think Buffalo has taken a step back with Stephon Diggs gone, and I understand maybe it's kind of a addition by subtraction type of thing. Um, but what is the rule? What do you call it when you lose your best player, but you end up doing better?
It's the Ewing theory, the
Ewing
Bill
theory. Thank
Simmons
you.
Ewing theory.
That's right. It might be Ewing theory with Buffalo, but I think they may take a little step, take another step back. Um, Even though I still think they make the playoffs. Miami a third. That it's just so hot and cold. That offense. I love Tua. I think Tua is very. I think people have underrated Tua so much. Tua has been called overrated so much that he is now underrated. Because I do think he is extremely talented. But once the little tinge of coldness gets in the air, that whole offense just falls apart. So I don't like them a lot. And then New England's, that's PU. That's a disaster. I think Gerard Mayo,
They're they're a couple years away. They're a couple years away.
at
I think it's fair to
least
say.
they're back to being just franchise they were before they were before Tom Brady.
A little bit, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
in this division, I think the Dolphins are really, really awesome at beating shitty football teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they may go 10-7, 11-6, have a fucking NASCAR offense. Like it's going to look awesome, but I just don't know that there's a whole lot of substance or meat on the bone there still. And you're right. I love the Jets if they can stay healthy. I think the Rodgers to Garrett Wilson combo could be as lethal as the Rodgers to Adams combo. So I like them in this division.
And the AFC North, this could be one of the deepest divisions in football, especially because three teams from this division made the playoffs last year, and one of those teams that made the playoff, I don't think will make the playoffs this year, and then the other three teams,
Oh
I think
yeah,
will
no
make the
doubt.
play. I think the other three teams will make the playoffs this year, which is crazy. Well, Baltimore, I think they're still, Lamar Jackson's still Lamar Jackson. I think he might be the only guy. He is a bit different animal, man, comparatively speaking. I mean, he's a different cat compared to a lot of these dual threat guys that fall, a couple years go by and things really go downhill. He has the ability to see the field so well in the passing game, and he's built so well to run the football that he's able to do it in a way that even like Cam Newton couldn't do in the long term. You know what I mean? Like Cam Newton could not long term play the kind of football he was playing at the top level. I think Lamar Jackson can, and I still love him in this division. That defense is still nasty too. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow being back is huge. Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback. I will stand by that take. It was sucked last year because he was coming off of injury and he sucked to start the year. He got healthy and he started being awesome. Then he was out for the rest of the year. And, you know, they're having their own issues with contract negotiations at this point. But, you know, they're going to be, I think they end up making the playoffs. Cleveland in third. I don't believe in Deshaun Watson. I believe in everything else about Cleveland. In fact, I think maybe there might be too many cooks in the kitchen in the receiving game there, but we'll get to that. Finally, Pittsburgh. Listen, the defense is good enough. They have some weapons on offense. The question is quarterback, as it has been. And listen, if they get production out of Russell like he got in Denver, if you just look at the stats, then who knows? But I don't think they will. And some people think Justin Fields will be the starter there. Maybe he will be. He hasn't impressed me that much in the preseason. Neither of these guys have impressed me that much. It feels like a race to the bottom between these two quarterbacks at this point. So, and I love you, Justin Fields, but it just does not seem like it's working out all that well. Thoughts?
I think the Ravens run away with this division. I'm really excited to see the Lamar Jackson Derrick Henry read option combo. You know, maybe a little midline read option. I don't know. We'll see. I think that the Browns found lightning in a bottle with Flacco last year. It's not going to happen again. Yeah, Deshaun, we haven't seen Deshaun Watson play a good quarterback and be a good quarterback in 4 years. And frankly, I don't love any of the other quarterback situations in this division, including Burrow. Not to say that I don't think
What?
Burrow. Hold on. Not to say that I don't think Burrow is an incredibly talented. I think he's an awesome quarterback, but it's the injury situation. He's not been practicing. He did not have a normal camp in terms of the number of reps he got. And it sounds like the injury he sustained is just incredibly rare, and they were having a hard time, you know, just understanding it medically. So that combined with the Jamar Chase contract situation, I don't love unhappy wide receivers. Um, I think the Bengals are kind of due for another down year. I love the Ravens in this division. I love it.
Who do you think wins, Justin Fields or Russ? Your two favorite quarterbacks.
I think Pittsburgh loses.
I see. Well, I love you, Justin, but it just is not looking. There's a reason why the Bears moved on from you, man. I love you, but come on. Um, then the NFC South, a sneaky division, I think, of kind of a sneaky division because I think Houston is the best in this division. I think you bring in Stephon Diggs, which is big to the offense. We'll see how many reps he really gets. You get back Tank Dell, who you lost, and you still made the playoffs last year and won a playoff game. You get back Tank Dell. You have C.J. Stroud. Does he have a sophomore slump? Maybe, but nothing last year made me think he's going to. Besides them, I mean, Indy, Anthony Richardson. I listen. He showed a lot of talent last year. Can he be the guy? Is he the guy, Anthony Richardson? He might be purely, and this is gonna be a take right here, purely based on his athleticism. Might be the most athletic quarterback in the NFL. Just
I
the arm he
No
has,
doubt,
the legs
no
he
doubt.
has. He does things. He's such an athletic freak that he's like Cam Newton reborn. He might be not reborn. I don't know, but he athletic. He might be the most athletic quarterback in the NFL. Jacksonville, who I think this is a make or break year for Doug Peterson. Truly is. Can he? Because I like Trevor Lawrence a lot. I think he's a good quarterback. Whoever the next head coach is could easily make him a top five quarterback in the NFL if Doug Peterson can't.
It's time for him to prove it, though.
I know. I just have seen him do enough. I feel like where, come on. Um, and then Tennessee. What do you? I do not understand the firing of Mike Vrabel. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's so dumb. It's so short-sighted. He was one of the best coaches in the NFL. The franchise failed him overall. They never gave him a real quarterback to work with. His teams played
Why didn't
over their
anyone?
head constantly. Yes, you're right. No one picked him up,
I used to be, yeah, I
but
used to be on your side
still,
of the fence with that, but like, why did no one hire him? If
they
that's,
kind of
I don't
fired
know.
him late in the process, didn't they?
I think he went on the same day as I don't know. I can't remember. I feel like he went on the same day as every other NFL head coach,
But you
but
could say the thing about Belichick. Belichick is, he's still incredible, but no one picked him up.
there's there's just a lot we don't know about these guys behind the scenes.
True.
And it sounds
Yeah.
like Vrabel rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
It seemed like these guys were being, wusses. They were like, oh, they intimidated him too much, but like he was too much of a physical presence or something. Duh.
too hardcore of a football guy.
Ugh, gosh, I love Vrabel. I don't care. I still think it's really stupid to fire him. He's a special kind of coach, a Dan Campbell-esque. Except Dan Campbell actually has seems like competent people in the front office that can build a team. Um, who do you think wins the South?
I think in the South, I'm gonna give me the Colts here.
Really?
But this, I think this could be another. I think this could be another fugly division. Another 10-7, 9-8 division winner.
I could see Jacksonville if they catch the fire they had a couple years ago being a sneaky team to win this division. But at the same time, I don't know about Doug Peterson. But I think it's gonna be Houston. Finally, the AFC West, your favorite division. I mean,
Best quarterback division in football right now. I think. Mahomes and Herbert.
yeah, I guess that if yeah, now that I think about it, I guess there's no argument really. There's not really any other division with a better combination of quarterbacks. Uh, the AFC East with Rodgers, Allen, and and Tua, and then the AFC North with Lamar, Burrow. But yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and like head coach wise too, you got Reed, Harbaugh, Peyton. I know Peyton still hasn't really done it with the Broncos yet, but you have to look at the pedigree there.
I obviously I think Kansas City wins this division.
Oh yeah,
Patrick
it's an
Mahomes
auto lock. It's an auto
is.
lock.
We're going to be telling our kids we watched Patrick Mahomes play. I mean, I understand you probably hate that with all your heart and soul, but it's just the truth. I've never seen a guy do the things on a football field that he does every single week. That it is otherworldly and insane. He's incredible. And then the Chargers take a step up. I love Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh is an incredible coach, and I think Herbert finally starts to find his way, even though I think he's a little overrated still. I think the Broncos may have a better year than people are expecting. If I think Bo Nix could be surprise people how good he is. I mean, he looked really good in the preseason. I mean, you're right. You were saying that he's been doing this one read thing that's, really isn't that impressive if you take one little layer off. But, I think Sean Payton is finally away from, Russell Wilson, and he might be kind of relieved by that. And then the Raiders, I don't know. The Raiders are just the Raiders at this point. They're the Raiders. They Raider.
The Raiders are at least a couple years away. I think
You can say that almost any
I
franchise.
I like the direction they went with the head coach. I think he's an awesome motivator. I
Yeah,
think
you're
Pierce
right.
is an awesome motivator. I think he's going to get the best out of his guys, but the problem is the front office isn't really stocking him with the best guys, especially at the quarterback position.
What are you talking about?
Um,
Gardner Minshew. He's going to be the quarterback. He's so cool.
Listen, I love me some Minshew mania,
I do
but
too. I don't hate you. I like you, Gardner. Not hating. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna steal a bit from another podcast here. I think Knicks could be frustratingly or annoyingly competent for the Broncos. I don't think he has a lot of tools, but I just think he's a guy he's gonna follow instructions. He's gonna do what he's told in a Sean Payton scheme, and maybe have a little bit of success from that. But you're right, TG. The class of this division is it is no doubt the Chiefs. Um, I don't see any scenario in which they don't. The only scenario in which they lose the West is Patrick Mahomes getting catastrophically injured.
That's probably a good
And
take.
yeah, like I don't think it's their division to lose. They have the belts.
I will say I think that the Broncos could be a good bad team. If we're talking about bad good teams and good bad teams, for those at home, a bad good team is a team that should be good and sometimes plays good, but they're often play bad. And a good bad team is a team that should not be that good, who on paper is not very good, but they play pretty good. And I think the Broncos could be a good bad team. And like Philly, I think could be a bad good team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, and I think yeah, I mean I'm excited for the Broncos this year because there's really there's no expectations on them. I think the Vegas win total is like 5.5, but they got a lot of fun players on that offense. Tim Patrick coming back. They got Audric Estime in
I love Estime.
from Notre Dame.
Estime is he's another bowling ball. That guy could be something special.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think they just have a fun, you can be entertaining and still bad in the NFL, and I think they're due for one of those kinds of years, which I'm not mad at.
That's fair. I understand that. Going into the postseason here's my top seven, my seeding for both in the NFC: San Francisco at 1 seed, Detroit 2 seed, Philly 3 seed, Atlanta 4 seed, Green Bay 5 seed, Dallas at the 6 seed, and then Chicago at the 7 seed. NFC Championship game: Philly versus Green Bay, and I think Philly goes to the Super Bowl. And then the AFC, it's KC at 1, Houston at 2, Dallas at 3, or sorry, Baltimore at 3. My handwriting. Buffalo at 5. Sorry, Jets at 4, Buffalo at 5, Cincinnati at 6, and the Chargers at 7. I think it's Houston versus the Jets in the NFC Championship game. I think it's Houston. I think it's Philly versus Houston. And I'll save my Super Bowl pick for a couple minutes from now.
So you're still loving the Eagles, huh?
I'm still in on the Eagles. Listen, I think I think Jalen has a bounce back year. I think everything went wrong for them last year. And I think that team is still really good. And I think the NFC might not be. I still can't believe that you know the Detroit can ever make a Super Bowl. I just can't believe that. And the 49ers have to kind of, if the injury bug hits them, it could be a disaster. I think I could see him making a run there in the postseason.
Fair enough. Yeah, I apologize to the viewer out there. I didn't do the same level of detail that TG did. I just did some conference championship games here.
All right.
We kind of know my division winners already, but I did in the AFC. I've got the Chiefs beating the Jets in the AFC. I think they will get the chance to defend their three-peat in the Super Bowl. Jets are talented, but I don't think they quite have enough. And in the NFC, I have the Lions beating the Packers.
Wow.
I think we've got an NFC. I think we're due for a little NFC North duel in the conference championship game.
And
Yeah,
your
and then
Super Bowl champion.
my Super Bowl champion is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're gonna do it. I think
I
they're
could
gonna be the
three-peat
first team ever to do it.
ever.
I'm fairly confident that there's not been an NFL three-peat. Let me have the IT department fact check that real quick.
Let's do a fact check. I think it's going to be the Houston Texans. I think the Houston Texans are going to win the Super Bowl, which is a crazy thing to
Wow.
say. It feels weird, but I like it. Philly versus Houston. I like Houston. So there you go.
Okay, so there's been a three-peat NFL champion. There has not been a three-peat Super Bowl champion because there is a distinction there.
I know that. I know there's. Yeah, you don't think I know ball? I know ball. All right, buddy.
I hey I
I
yeah
deal with
I'm
Packers.
talking to
I
I'm
deal
talking to the
with
viewer who
Packers
may not
fans.
know.
I deal with Packers fans who think that they're title town because they won titles during the Roosevelt administration. I mean, come on.
They were one of the NFL three-peats actually. That's
That yeah. Was it the Bears and them?
um the um No one has won three straight Super Bowls in the 104 year history of the NFL. Only the 1929 through 31 and 1965 through 67 Packers have won three straight
Uh,
titles. So actually, both of them were Packers. So
Womp womp. Okay, that makes sense. The Bears probably won a couple in a row back in the really old days, but probably not three in a row. Um, Next up, and we'll finish off with this: boom or doom. We bring the boom or doom. I just showed him the Costco guys with fantasy football. Let's talk some boom players. Start with one boom player for me, Xavier Worthy. He's going to get targets, and he has a man named Patrick Mahomes behind him. He is fast as all get out. I think it could be a new favorite target for Patty Mahomes. I love Xavier Worthy. Braylon Allen. He was a absolutely electric at
yes,
Wisconsin, and I
go
think
Badgers.
on that Jets offense, he could be electric as well. He could be a really nice play there. Uh, like this, Jaleel McLaughlin. He might not be your
Okay.
starter, but he's someone on the bench who I think could give you some points. Apparently, he's been lighting it up in camp, even though he's an undrafted guy. Lad McConkey, we all remember how amazing he was in college at Georgia, and he's now has a guy like Herbert, and he has Harbaugh. You got to imagine he's going to be good. And finally, people are going to hate me for saying this, Kyle Pitts. Unbelievably athletic, incredible talent. With a guy like Kirk Cousins out throwing the football, I like him a lot. And then I'll throw in there just for me, Caleb Williams. Because if he does go take off like that, then the world is his oyster. And then my doom players, it could be Justin Herbert. Listen, if things go
Yeah, I hear you.
poorly, people could draft him relatively, things go poorly, he could see himself lose a little bit of production. He lost a lot of talent on that offense. He loses Keenan Allen. He could see a little bit of a drop off in production and fantasy points. Jerry Jeudy, I like him, but he didn't really show all that much in Denver. To be fair, he didn't have much going for him in Denver. And now he's in Cleveland where he's going to be muscling it out with a few different guys for targets. That could be tough. It pains me so much to say because I think he's so great. DJ Moore might be a another guy who could be this victim of the same thing. I think he's probably better than Judy, but he's going to be muscled by Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze along with Cole Kmet for targets, and that could hurt him, especially if you draft him really high. If he's a first round guy for you, that could be an issue. And again, same thing with Diggs. And finally, Travis Kelce, because I still think he's probably a top three tight end, fantasy tight end. But the problem is, people are going to want to take him like 1-1 in some drafts or
Yeah.
1-2. And, if his injuries, you could see a decline in production at his age. And with injuries, it could be troubling.
Yeah, he was one of mine as well. We had some crossover on our Doom list. He's still awesome. He's still the best tight end in the NFL.
Yes,
He's
definitely.
strict. He's getting up there in age. He's strictly a playoff player now, and that's okay for the Chiefs, but maybe not necessarily great for fantasy players. And we're so we were in kind of a tight end drought fantasy wise the last couple years, but that's really not so much the case anymore. Laporta, a rookie, was number one fantasy tight end last year. So yeah, I think there's better options than Kelsey. On the boom side, I'm huge on your guy Anthony Richardson. Um, he played 6 quarters of football last year. Do you know how many rushing touchdowns he scored in that span?
How many?
4. So just like if he stays healthy like that, those quarterback rushing touchdowns are paramount. They're an awesome fantasy strategy. It's almost like having another running back on your roster. And that's kind of why on the other side of the coin why I'm not as into Jalen Hurts this year. I think there's going to be just from the loss of Jason Kelsey. I think there's going to be not as many of those free cheap tush push touchdowns. And his output as a passer is just not really enough to carry fantasy value for me.
Anyone else?
I'm into Rico Dowdle at least early in the season. Someone's got to carry the ball for the Cowboys, and I don't think it's going to be big fat Zeke Elliott. So we'll see.
Any other fantasy guys?
Um, did I? We talked about Kelsey, we talked about Hurts, Dowdle. I like Chase Brown for Cincinnati. Kind of the same thing as the Cowboys. Someone's got to carry the ball there. Someone's got to get some volume. I think he could establish himself with Joe Mixon out of there. Dulcich, the tight end for the Broncos, maybe this is the year that he finally stays healthy. He finally gets some volume in that offense. They still don't really have a ton of name brand tight ends in that offense, or really just name brand players in general. Could be some opportunity for him there.
Now, also, I'm going to put this out there. And again, this is a Bears heavy thing, so cover your ears if you hate hearing this. But uh, I think that a really good bench option for a lot of guys could be Khalil Herbert, especially if Swift has any issues. I think, and he's probably going to get a decent number of carries as a bench guy. I think Herbert, you can't go wrong with him. And then if you have any injuries at all, you could swoop in and get Roshan, because again, any of those three guys could be really good. Finally, let's go into MVP. And I think there's one guy. It's Mahomes. I mean, for me, if you're gonna flip a coin, it's 50% someone else, 50% Mahomes. It feels like so. Mahomes is
it's him. It's him versus the field, really.
Yeah, basically at this point, which is crazy, but it's true.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm gonna pick the favorite here, but I'm gonna try and give you an interesting reason why. I just think this is the year where the media and fans in general, we're always just so eager to look for the next thing, or the next quarterback, the next hot head coach, whatever it may be. I think this is the year that we're just going to realize that Patrick Mahomes is probably the fucking GOAT, and that we just kind of have to accept that in as fans and as media.
One last thing before we sign off here, and I want to direct this at Chiefs fans, because listen, I don't dislike you at all personally. I don't have anything really against you that much. I do root for the Broncos as a Denver guy, but again, I don't have any real hate in my heart the same way Zachary does for you. But it might start if you don't stop running your yaps. Talk about a fan base that they are becoming the Patriots fans. Literally. Caleb Williams didn't mention Mahomes in his top quarterbacks, and I saw people be like, what is he? He's trying too much. Mahomes is the GOAT. It's like, stop it. Feel secure in the fact that you have the best quarterback ever, probably going to be the best quarterback ever as your quarterback. Stop being whining. Just stop. Stop. Come on, don't become Patriots fans. Let's talk it out. You've won 2 straight Super Bowls. Just, okay? Cool your jets. I think it's kind of just a lesson that any fan base can become this if they have a couple hot years. A couple hot years, and Lions fans could be going like this and saying that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's literally.
You got a drive-by in on the Lions and the Patriots there. I love it.
It's true.
It's big hater energy.
Patriots, listen, they stink now, so what are you going to say? Talk about a franchise, by the way, that's been buoyed by one guy. Okay? By one guy, and that guy is Tom Brady.
2.
No, listen, I think Belichick is good, but if there's no Brady, Belichick is probably fired within a year or 2. He ain't sticking around there, okay? Don't get me wrong. Brady is not Brady without Belichick in the long run. And that team's not incredible without that incredible defense. But it was more Brady than Belichick by really any means. I think Brady made the Patriots, relative, if you look at it. Made them. And that showed you after Brady was gone, like that. Complete and total sink to the bottom.
I think Bill
Garbage.
the coach is I think Bill the coach is a legend still. I think Bill the GM is.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, leaves a lot to be desired.
Any other thoughts? Any other? You excited about football? Are we ready for some football? I
Yeah,
like football.
I was in kind of a I was enjoying like a Euro sports summer kind of. You know, we had the Olympics, we had the Euro soccer tournament. Both of those were awesome. So I was locked into those for a few weeks, but you know now those are over. I'm really excited for football, college and pro. Yeah, the Broncos are just going to be fun. There's no real pressure. I can just enjoy and I can just accept what it is and it'll all be okay.
Broncos country. That's
Let's
right.
no no
No, not this time.
no. You almost baited me with that, but no.
Oh, geez. I'm excited for football. Very excited. Hard Knocks is really getting me to drink the Bears Kool-Aid because they just seem like such a good unit on Hard Knocks. But to be fair, they probably put everything together to make it seem like that. But they just seem to be a bunch of guys that love football. So that's getting me really excited for football. Although I've heard people say that Hard Knocks sucks this year. Have you watched any Hard Knocks?
I have not. Just a busy schedule. Not any particular reason why, but I don't know. I feel like I heard there's no profanity this year, and Hard Knocks without the F bomb seems kind of like it just seems a little different to me. I don't know. Just
It's a long story to do with the Bears and the
no.
ownership.
I know it's the McCaskies and everything.
Yeah.
It's just I'm sure I'd enjoy it if I flipped it on. I just
Well,
haven't gotten around to it this
again,
year.
it's one of those things where of course, I'm going to like it. It's my team. I enjoy watching my team and like a puff piece about my team, but you know, it's I can see why people think it's boring, but it
It's
does
just
make me excited.
it's different. Yeah, it's just different. It's different than what we're used to Hard Knocks being.
And everyone's
Well,
being
that
addicted and I think the haters are still coming after Caleb. I don't care. He's my guy. He's my dude. He seems like a chill guy. So
everyone who's annoyed about him painting his nails can fuck off. I'm so tired of that conversation.
I'm just excited. I like football. That was DJ Moore's big quote. I think from the second episode. I like football.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
He took a
I
big
like DJ Moore in fantasy, so let's go.
he took a big hit in the game against the Bills, and he just hits the ground. He gets up. He's like, I like football. So from the boys, we like football.
We like football.
We love football. Can't wait.